on, hit the rings.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. Calling the meeting of New Harmony Plan and Historic Preservation Commission to order. Here's an agenda. If anybody needs one. Here. You want one? Roll call. Armstrong.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Huck.
Here.
Treadway.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Winesapple here. Westfall.
I just saw her going by my house on a golf cart.
Okay.
She was coming this way, maybe.
I put on the agenda election of a secretary for this body because I was given the documents that we will need to sign to approve the comprehensive plan and to make the recommendation to the town council to adopt it. And I guess according to law and what they sent me, we need a secretary. So do I have a nomination for a secretary?
I move Tony Treadway, secretary.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
You probably need to open it for other nominations if everybody has.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
other nominations? Tom, are you wanting, yeah, okay.
Okay, now you know.
Tom Stahl is still gonna take our minutes as zoning administrator. Yes, he is, yes.
Oh, see, I thought I was getting out of this.
No.
Oh, okay.
Now you need
So
to.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Tony.
thank you. And it's, I've got the docs, so it's not a big deal. You'll just sign them with me.
Okay.
That's it. All right, approval of the minutes. And thank you, Tom, for your succinct minutes. I appreciate that. We all do.
Guarantee you.
Everybody read them? I didn't make copies. I sent them to you.
Good.
Motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the amendments.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. So our permit applications, the first one is Lisa Castleberry, 712 Church Street. Did you all have a chance to look at that? And we, and Lisa is here, yes. And so we've had some little problems.
Yeah, and I'd like to address that. if I can.
Please do, yes.
So Rodney had taken the window out because the electrician was here and the window was put back in. We don't even have the new window, so he wasn't replacing a window. He was taking it out for the electrician to run the lines and he was putting that existing window back in. So the intention was not to do any work ahead of schedule. Our plan, from what I understand, is the window is supposed to be in next week, and then he was gonna put the windows in and build the cabinets at that point, so.
Okay.
So the cease and desist, I think, was probably unnecessary,
So the one that's in there now is a temporary?
it's the existing window. So he took it out to.
Why is it a different color?
I'm sorry,
It's not red. What is that?
It's,
it's the same window that's been there.
Oh, was it not red before?
well, it's green.
All the rest of your windows are red. Okay. That's what confused me.
It's green.
They're tannish, brownish. Where's my picture?
Yeah, who has that one?
I don't know.
Is it in that stack? I don't know.
Is it over
Oh, I
there?
don't think so.
I don't know where it is.
It's in that stack.
Maybe it's under,
Who knows?
maybe somebody slipped it in under the paper clip. No?
That's how it was, yes.
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 That's what it is now.
Yes. Well, so can you tell us how the new, I know it's a different size slightly. Can
Yes,
you,
essentially, these two windows, here and here, are going to be switched. The sizes, so this size of window will go here. Actually, this exact window will be going in here. And this size of window will be going here. And the
okay,
reason that we're doing that is because I'm putting a kitchen in the middle of the house. So I
Right.
need a cabinet height window. So that's why that is going to change.
and I think I understood this is what was proposed that would have been the big blowout.
Right.
that you didn't
Which
do.
I absolutely chose.
Right, right. What I'm gonna do is maybe
Pull that out, yeah.
pull that out and give that to you
Confusing
because
me.
I wanted to show you there was a lot of thought put into this.
I understand. I knew that after I looked at it a couple of times. I understood. And you have given us pictures of the little porch that you're gonna do.
So those are the two
Yeah. And that's all on the same permit. So I think I understand what you're doing and I think it's fine. I wish we could find that picture.
It's here.
It was just laying out here, cause I looked at it and laid it back out here.
Wait a minute. Here it is. Look,
I
Lisa,
knew that would work.
this is what we're
Don't
talking.
roll off of there.
See, with that plastic in the middle. That's why Tom thought it was a different,
That's the way it is now.
see, it's,
Well, these windows were put in a few years ago, so if that's like the original picture, but there's,
no, Tom just took this today.
oh, okay.
That's
Well, this is
why,
that we don't even have a new window, and so there's no other window to put in because the new window's gonna be shorter.
well, what he's already done is he's widened it. That's what it is, I bet.
He couldn't have, it's the same window. I mean, it's the same, there's two windows.
This is more narrow than this.
It can't be because we never got any other window to put in there. There was not another window.
This is a piece of plastic that he put in between those two.
Okay.
That
Well,
is, see, what he's done is he's widened it to the width of this because you're moving both of those over, right?
Well, no, this window is not going in here,
Oh, it's not.
no.
Okay, maybe you better explain it
Let's
again.
get
then.
the
This
new window.
window is
No,
going
I'm
in
confused.
here, then, so a different window is going in here. This one's just gonna be taken out because it's rotten.
Okay, and it won't be the same width? Do you know?
I think I put that
Because I
in.
pulled all those wooden timbers back.
So I see what you're saying, is
Yeah.
that,
So I can go ahead
but, so
and
I
gravel in.
don't think.
The only place I've got them to set them right now is
So
where the gravel.
he might have
needs to
had
be
to
off
have
the
taken the middle
greenhouse.
part out and replaced it with,
It's
Yeah.
cold.
but he took it out and put it back in. So
Maybe in order just to fill the gap, he had to,
I think that
because he repositioned it just a little bit and had to fill in temporarily. 'cause
Just to
this
keep the
is
weather
coming
out and everything in the meantime.
Yes,
Yeah, I
that's
think-
what my
exactly.
thought with what I'm understanding is.
Okay.
You can see why we think it looked like he had done something new there.
Well, I will say, this is not the first time we've had an encounter with Mr. Wade. So, I think what you're gonna do is fine. Any motions on this? Do we wanna, have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the whole thing?
And second,
Second.
and any conversation about it? Any further discussion about it?
I think it looked fine. Bump in the road.
All right, let's have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you're good.
Thank you.
You can make a notation on that. We'll put it as part of the record.
Lisa, you can get your app in the morning, somebody brings $100 in.
Okay.
You'll be all set.
There's the rest of the file. Okay. The only other piece of business is, and I see Tom Smith is here, and as you all probably know, there was a tree that fell on a trailer at 629 Frederick Street last week during the storm. And essentially split the trailer in two, making it uninhabitable. So I happened to be in town hall when Tom Smith came in the other day and said that he was going to demolish it and take it off the lot. So I said, well, that would need to come before the plan commission because it's the removal of a structure. So because this is somewhat of an emergency situation and it's a hazard as it is, even though he came after our deadline of Friday afternoon at noon, I said we would handle this as an emergency so he can go ahead and do that work. He has filled out the form. The only thing is, you're not the property owner. So we really need to have his name on this, and he needs to sign it, just to keep it all clean.
The property owner or the trailer owner, two different entities.
Property owner.
Okay, so that's gonna be Jason Hain. Okay.
I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, all the ordinances are all based on the owner of the property.
The property,
Okay.
yeah. So, if you can have him come in and do that,
Okay.
I would think that we could vote for the emergency
Yeah, I don't-
removal,
I
but
agree.
just to keep everything kosher, having come by and sign it.
yeah, make sure
Approve
he
it
comes
pending,
in.
approve it pending that.
Pending his approval.
Well, okay.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
gone by the time. he
Oh,
comes
well,
and
then
signs
there's
it
that, yeah.
probably, but-
Well, but go ahead and make a motion to that effect if you would.
Make a motion that we approve this as long as he can get it signed or he comes in and signs
The
at some
owner,
point.
the property
Property
owner
owner signs at some point, yes.
at 629 Frederick Street. Okay. That's a motion. Do
I would
have a-
second.
All right. Any further discussion?
Motion.
Yes.
Anything? All right. All in favor?
I,
All opposed? Okay. So this is good. We can go ahead and do a permit.
Okay.
And just please have him come
Yeah,
in.
I will send him a message.
If he doesn't, you'll have to put it back.
that's what I
You have to repair it, that's the rule.
Yeah, where are you gonna put it in the meantime?
And then, if I could just, as a point of order, Don Hatfield is related to the two women that lost their home. And we had a conversation this morning about the idea of replacing that, and there are people in town that are working to replace that property. So,
That
And the structure.
trailer, the structure,
The structure on the property.
yes.
Yeah. okay, yeah. So what I've done, I told Don that, first of all, the property owner would have to apply for whatever is put on that piece of property.
Mr.
Deal.
Lysander,
Yes.
excuse me for interrupting, but Mr. Hain is nominated to be his representative down here, and anything he needs to sign or anything, he will come down and do that.
Okay,
However, it is his intention of replacing that mobile home with another one.
yes,
Okay? So I want to make that clear, that this is his intention,
okay.
not the homeowners. but
Okay.
his.
Well, and that's what I was telling the commission, is that it has to be the property owner that fills out the permit and that we would consider. And our code as it stands now, even though we do say that we don't want new mobile homes, there is an allowance for properties around it and other considerations. So I have made a copy of this. I gave one to
What
Don
does
so
that
he
mean,
can
properties
read.
around it? I'm not sure.
Well, the context.
Here, I've got it here, I can
So-
read it if you want me to.
I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's okay. So it says, any mobile home in the town,
Here it is.
I'm sorry, this is where it really gets relevant. No new, used, or different mobile home may replace an existing mobile home. So this was back in 2013. They passed an ordinance, said, okay, everybody's grandfathered. If you've got a trailer
If
here,
you
you're
have
fine.
one, yes.
But if you ever pull that trailer out or that trailer is gone, you can't replace it with another mobile home.
And it doesn't specify due to the
It just says, no used
loss
or
of
different mobile
due to-
homes may replace an existing mobile home after
yeah.
the mobile home is removed unless approved as a permitted non-conforming use. And this is what Connie was saying. So unless we were to permit it as a non-conforming use, meaning we would have the right to make an exception if we chose to do so.
Like if the lot's
Okay.
not big enough or something.
And then
like
it
that,
says,
build on.
any new or different mobile home approved as a non-conforming use, meaning if we chose to do that, has to meet these requirements. Number one, no more than one permitting mobile home shall be permitted on the lot. In other words, you only replace it with one. A permitted non-conforming may be approved upon showing that it is not inconsistent with the neighborhood's general architectural design, which it would
It
not be.
is- it is
Now, there are other
surrounded
house,
by
there are other
other
things down
trailers.
there like that. It's intended for residential use, would be. Has been the subject of notification, and here's the one that makes it a little bit difficult, but this is what it says. Has been the subject of notification by certified mail by the applicant to adjacent property owners together with the date and the time that the planning commission is going to consider it. In other words, the property owner, the way the ordinance reads, has to send a certified letter to everybody, all the neighbors, saying, okay, this is going to come under consideration. What that does, I assume, is gives them a right to
Yeah.
come to the meeting and say, hey,
That's
I got a
right.
problem with this, I
That's
don't approve.
This, then you show up and voice your opinion.
That's correct.
Why you would not want this on.
That's
Well, that's
why
right.
that's in there.
And it gives, particularly, I think back to the gentleman who came to us last year and removed a trailer and has the intention, has expressed the intention of putting small homes along there. You know, so this gives him a right as an adjacent property owner to express
To
his
say,
opinion.
no, I really don't want a trailer in there, and now.
That's right.
That
And then
doesn't mean we have to take his opinion, but at least we have to hear it.
vote. We will still vote.
And
Even
then,
though it says that those people have the right to come here.
yeah,
Oh, that is informing them that we are going to
Have a
consider
meeting.
this.
Okay.
You know, it's
allowing-
like when the Board of Zoning Appeals has something.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay.
notify all the property owners around whatever you're wanting to
that there's
do,
going to be a hearing.
that there's a hearing. It doesn't say they agree with it or don't agree with it. It's notification, so that it's a public meeting and people realize
Okay.
when they can come and talk about.
And then there's two or three other things. If it is granted non-conforming, it has to be hooked up to utilities within 2 weeks, meaning you're not gonna let this thing sit around forever and not treat it like a house. No new mobile home communities are allowed. So, you know, that's what the ordinance says. That-
Well, and
This specific lot, I know for a fact there's not room for even a camper.
I know.
Right.
No bigger than this thing is. They couldn't squeeze anything else on there.
well, and
It would be tough.
the non-conforming, keeping it as a non-conforming use means that if something happens to that trailer, when that trailer's useful life is over,
The old rules repeat themselves.
yeah, then we're back to the opportunity to not have a trailer there.
Connie, Tom had a
Yes, I'm
question.
ahead.
Tom had
I
a
got a
question.
quick, what is the difference between a mobile home and a modular home?
Wheels, I think.
Well, it's kind of gray because
Modular homes
it's
can be
great
moved on wheels
because
also. That's how
modular
they're
homes
moved.
come in on flatbeds, and it specifically in our code talks about flatbeds too.
No,
It's-
modular homes come on wheels.
And they take the axles off
You're
when they
absolutely
set them.
right, they do.
And
It-
also tiny
it-
homes come in on wheels.
It's non-defined.
You know,
Mobile
and
homes
that's all
not.
I'm saying is, you know, is it gray or is it black and white?
It's not really black and white. It really is
I
not.
understand that.
It
And that's-
says
I mean,
mobile
that-
homes are not permitted in the town, except.
Yeah.
So
And the
mobile home is
definition,
not defined.
well, it is in another section of the code. It is,
Okay.
in the definitions. And that's the
What is
kind of,
defined a mobile home? Is
yes,
that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm
There is
telling
a
you.
definition of
yeah.
a mobile home, modular home, tiny home.
Weren't tiny homes then.
I understand.
You know, I mean,
I
that's kind of what we're talking about with this code. And, you know, making the code relevant to
You know,
today.
because if the gentleman across the street removes that trailer and then wants to bring tiny homes in, by,
Those are on wheels too. I understand that.
you know,
I understand that.
does it make a difference if it's put on a permanent foundation? If a permanent foundation is the call out,
Well, that has not been the case in the past, I would say.
I understand that. You know, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first part is I've worked a lot with Clayton Homes and installing these double wide, modulars and double wides and, you know, they all go by different names and
Right.
single wide, they call them single wides now, they don't call them mobile homes, they call them single wides. Okay, so the term or definition is the same. You can have a single wide set up on a block foundation.
Mhm.
You can have a modular set up on block foundation, but in actuality, the block foundation does not support the trailer. It's just a skirting look. is all it is. It's not structural support of the vehicle, of the trailer itself. So unfortunately, sometimes you know too much.
Maybe you ought to volunteer some time to be on
He
the
already said
zoning
no.
group. That's what I think. No, I mean, seriously, you know.
When you ask me, I'll answer a question for you. That's-
Well, I don't think you can,
We're
because he
gonna-
doesn't live in town.
Well, we're allowed to get
Can we?
expertise.
Oh, that's right, that's
Yes,
right.
we
All right.
are.
Can I
That's our
inject
architectural
one thing?
review committee.
Pardon me?
I said, may I inject one thing?
Sure.
All right, all of you, with the exception of a couple of people, are not familiar with New Harmony at all. The people that own that home have lived in that home for 30 years. What happened was, this was an act of God, if you want to call it that blew the tree over on their trailer. And I would hope that you would take that into consideration when you consider this trailer coming back in. Because I can sense that all of you probably are against it, with the exception of a couple. But take into consideration the people that have lived here for a period of time. And I would hope that you would think about that. Because you do not know the homeowner. To you, you're just looking at what's on the application. And I would think Mr. Huck's been around a long time, and he knows who they are. In fact, they help raise his kids. So what I'm saying is, it's easy to say, oh, no trailers. Hell, I don't know if Steve was on the board or not. We wrote this ordinance to begin with. Now, none of you know who I am, and it's not important who I am. But I served on the town board 20 years here. So I know what we did, what we didn't do, what we were looking at, and there was always a variance involved in what we were considering. So I would hope that you would look at that, and I would appreciate, if you have a comment, fine, do so. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion about that? All right, let's move in.
So when the owner of the property
Mhm.
just needs to come and make application to replace it with a home.
Yeah.
And then we'll.
That's right.
And then we'll.
That's it. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, one more thing, Jason's gonna stop by and sign paperwork.
okay,
So I sent him a text, he said, okay, he's gonna
Okay.
sign that paper.
okay,
Jason, just so you guys know, I'm donating the time to remove the unit. Jason is taking care of the dumpster cost,
okay,
okay?
great.
Well, and while he's here, that he needs to just fill out the application to put
Yeah.
it wood to replace it.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell him that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Will he be in tomorrow then? Did he say, or
I don't
you
know.
don't
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm swamp busy, so I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
all right, thank you,
for
Tom.
your time, gentlemen.
Thank you, Don.
Be careful. Till then,
Okay, so I wanted you all to have the legal language that I read last night at the town council, so you know. So, has anybody read the comp plan? I know Rod has.
I have.
Have you made comments?
There were just a couple of things that, it's nothing major. The only thing, I would still like to see the survey results number-wise. So if we have to justify this to the community or anyone along those lines, we
I
need
think
to
it's
have that
important, too.
information.
I think it's important too.
Interestingly, it was included on the 5-year parks plan.
But it wasn't,
I know. So I will make that again.
because I requested this since December
I
20.
know.
And that's-
I
yeah,
know, and I told
And I don't
them.
want to be, I don't want to be the asshole with them, but, it's one of those things.
Okay, all right, I've told them. That's all I can do. I can't
Yeah.
make them. But
Well, they
we
do
can,
work for us.
I was
mean,
gonna
that's-
say.
that, you know, that we have them.
well, we have one more payment, you know.
And, you
so-
know, I'm sorry,
No.
that check doesn't go until.
Okay, so 3:00 tomorrow afternoon is the deadline to get your comments. And after that, you know, basically, it's gonna come on May 6th. They're gonna make a presentation, and either we're gonna vote for it or we're not. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, that's,
So-
that's the sausage grinder of government, you know? You may be 95 approval of everything in there, but there's one thing that catches your craw that you just can't stand, so you vote against it.
Well, I'll tell
But, you know, it may be 95% good, but there may be one thing, okay, we're really gonna vote it down over one little, you know,
Yeah.
that'll be up to each of us and our, that's
Well,
how
that
government works, you know?
Right, yeah.
But I will tell you, my copy is full of blood.
Yeah, I sent a bunch. They got a few things just wrong.
The main thing I'm concerned about is, we have been saying all along that we have the National Register District, so their details about that are totally wrong, totally wrong.
That's, yeah,
Was that one of your comments? So you read
Yeah.
that too, but no, that's my big thing. That's what we're using, that's what we have, that's what's already established, so.
and that's been well established for a long period of
Since
time.
2003. And all of this is actually in our design guidelines that is on the website. The whole history of when all of the things, you remember a year and almost a half ago, I gave you little whole printouts about this stuff. It's all there. It's all there, so. All right, so 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like this, part of this was a boilerplate to us.
Some of it was.
Well,
I would
some of
say-
them are. I mean, I think we could have had anybody do it, and there's always 25% of it that's boilerplate.
Well, and the
They do
other
these
thing
for-
is, you recall, we had bids of 400,000, and this was gonna be
What was this?
190, and it came down to 95.
Came down to 95, but 25 or 30 of that was 66. So 30 of that was for the parks. So comprehensive plan was 60 grand.
So, I mean, yep, I knew it was, we were gonna get
We could have paid
boilerplates, you
400,
know.
we could have paid 400,000 for a really good one.
Well,
Yeah, but also the other ones that did everything we asked them to in the beginning anyways.
Yeah.
In the very beginning. 'Cause
Right.
nobody else included a park plan besides them.
That's right, that's right. So, I still think we made the right decision, but like you, I don't think we got everything we could have.
yeah, there's a lot of open end for interpretation and what, it's, the issue that I guess my biggest issue was, there's no specifics whatsoever.
Well, here's
And there should be some specifics that would have come from the steering committee that they would have then brought further in. There's,
I don't know if I agree
Yeah,
with that.
there's quite a bit, there's some meat there.
there's some meat, but
The housing recommendations, the
Transportation,
sidewalks,
utilities.
you know, all those particular things.
The real meat is at the very end,
Yeah.
where they say, okay, here's the recommendations for all these different areas. So, I mean, you know, if you go home tonight and she's saying by 3 o'clock tomorrow, I mean, if you don't want to read it all, you know, get to the end, because that's really that's what the community, the purpose of this is to say, this is what the community has decided.
The
we
preponderance
want to
of
move forward
people
on.
that were involved in the
It
project.
wasn't us, it wasn't town council. The community came together, and this is what it all came down to the funnel and said, okay, when it comes to transportation, here's the 6 things we think we need to accomplish over the
and
next
that's
10
why
years.
I think the acknowledgement of having the survey numbers along with the questions then gives the meat to that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it says,
And because that's my concern, because if we have to defend this and we don't have the numbers there, well, you know, this is what the community, you know, this is what the survey said, well, then.
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
I've been barbecued in a few of these situations before.
but remember, Tony, it wasn't just the survey, there were all these group meetings.
All the in-persons.
All the in-person meetings, it It
I don't
wasn't
think,
just the
I don't think
survey.
there were very many surveys.
I mean, there
That's-
were 3 or
No,
4
I
steering
think you're
committee
right.
meetings, there were all the focus groups, there were the open houses, all that information is what got this, not just the survey. Survey was one piece.
Yeah, no, the survey was not successful, I would say.
Okay, that's,
But again, the steering committee was supposed to be driving that, you know? You are all supposed to be getting people to do that. So, I mean, they all, you're on it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
It's
you
all
know,
Jonathan's fault.
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I did everything I could, I can
Well,
tell you that. So,
I went to the Fort Home and you know, the number of those places.
Yeah,
so, you know,
yeah,
That's a part of it, so.
so anyway.
You were gonna read that, give me where you're at.
No, I was just
Okay,
gonna
you were just
summarize
showing.
it. Everybody can read that for themselves.
I can't read.
Yeah, I think you can. I think
Wish you
it's
would've
May
told me that
6th.
earlier.
May 6th. So anyway, so they will be there on May 6th. I have specifically invited all of the town council members so they can see the direct presentation too.
When will this body make a vote? Not that night,
Yeah, that night.
that night. So
Yes.
they're, in essence, they're presenting it to this group.
Yes, yes, and I have all the legal documents. If we pass it that night, then I've got the legal documents to pass on to the town council, and we will take it up then on May 20th, so.
Is that like one of those things that you guys have to read for a couple meetings and then vote, like you do?
I don't think
Okay.
so.
No,
I didn't
and
know.
that's
That's if you're
really,
changing an
Right,
ordinance.
right. I knew they had to do
that's
ordinances.
really
Good
why,
question, but-
well, because we thought we would do that.
Right.
But then I started to think, okay, if the town council can come on May 6th, they can have the direct presentation
Right.
as well.
Okay.
And we can get all of it at the same time, and please God, by May 20th, maybe this will be over.
Well, where are you gonna hold that at? Is it gonna be
Working men's,
on bench?
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
some space.
yeah. And then the draft will be, there'll be a copy here, there'll be a copy at the WMI, and it will go up on the website next Tuesday, 22nd,
And it has to go to the recorder's office to be recorded.
once it's passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. You meant before
So
that.
after Tuesday, we can read the whole thing on the website?
That's why I need whatever you're thinking by tomorrow afternoon, so they can work on it over Easter weekend. So, all right, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion?
Yeah.
Second.
Yep, or whoever you didn't get.
Okay, we're done.
Down whoever you want there, Tom.
Yeah, I'll make a copy of mine
With this back?
tomorrow morning before I go to the woods.